Hi everyone, Jerry Mona with BoaterInput. You know, it's that time of year that, depending on where you live, some of you are still out boating or fishing, and others have put your boat away for the season. And as someone who grew up in the Midwest, I feel your pain. It can be a tough time of year. So today we're going to do something a little bit different that applies no matter where you live. We're going to do the first edition of Nautical Knowledge. So for this segment, I am going to ask you 5 different questions and to test your knowledge as a boater. And at the end, I'm going to share the answer. So it'll be a little bit of fun, and you may learn a little bit of something along the way. So make sure you keep track of how many you get correct. So I'm going to start with a fairly easy question, and things will get a little bit more challenging after that. On a boat, what does the starboard refer to? A, the left side of the vessel when facing the bow. B, the right side of the vessel when facing the bow. C, the primary access point onto a vessel. D, the side of the boat that should face an oncoming vessel heading towards you. Or E, both A and D. I'll give you a few moments and then we'll talk about the answer. And the correct answer is B, the right side of the vessel when facing the bow. One easy way to remember which is that port and left each have 4 letters, and so they go together. Therefore, by elimination, the starboard must be on the right. If another boat is heading directly towards you, you should veer to the right or starboard side so that the port side is facing the oncoming vessel. Now, the second question has to do with boat shows. Which of the following boat shows is the largest in terms of attendance in the U.S.? A, the Chicago Boat Show. B, Minneapolis. C, Miami. D, Houston. Or E, New York. And the correct answer is C, Miami. The Miami International Boat Show attracts over 100,000 attendees and thousands of exhibitors from around the world each year. It takes place mid-February and features everything from small center consoles and pontoons to massive mega yachts. And many manufacturers unveil their new models at the Miami Boat Show. Now, as part of the answer choices, I intentionally did not include the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, also known as FLIBS, which takes place in the fall. That's because there is some debate as to which one is actually larger. The Fort Lauderdale show is clearly the largest on-water show, whereas Miami has a larger internal exhibit space plus a sizable on-water presence. Now, the third question has to do with boat types. Which of the following is not a true difference between bay boats and offshore boats? A bay boat generally has a shallower draft. B, bay boats generally have higher casting decks relative to the top of the gunnel. C, bay boats generally have more freeboard. D, bay boats generally have less dead rise. Or E, bay boats are less likely to have multiple engines. Okay, so the correct answer is C. Bay boats have more freeboard, which is not true. Freeboard is a distance from the waterline to the top of the gunnel measured at the lowest point in the boat. Offshore boats generally have more freeboard to handle rougher seas and for added security since you have higher sides to keep you from falling overboard. Bay boats, on the other hand, have less freeboard, making it easier to cast from and even to maneuver the boat in shallow water since you have less wind resistance with the lower sides. So question 4 has to deal with sulfation. And this is something that I've talked about in my newsletter previously and in some of my videos. So the question is, what is sulfation? A, corrosion that occurs when metal parts are exposed to salt water. B, the buildup of sulfur deposits on a marine engine. C, the chemical reaction where sulfuric acid in a battery evaporates into gas form. D, the accumulation of lead sulfide crystals on battery plates that reduces performance, or E, an electrical chemical reaction between two or more dissimilar metals. So the correct answer is D, the accumulation of lead sulfide crystals on battery plates that reduces performance. Sulfation occurs when lead-acid batteries sit discharged for too long. Little crystals form on the plates that harden and reduce the battery's ability to hold a charge. That's why it's important to recharge your lead-acid battery as soon as possible after depleting it, and to keep your batteries topped off over the winter season. Now, my fifth and final question has to do with prop slip. So what is prop slip? A, is it the slippage that occurs in a propeller due to a spun hub? B, the loss of bite or grip when air or exhaust gases are drawn into the propeller, often on a hard turn or when over trimming. C, a reduction in the prop's performance due to a damaged blade. D, vibration or wobbling of the propeller at high speeds. Or E, the difference between a theoretical and actual distance traveled with one revolution of a propeller. And the correct answer is E, the difference between a theoretical and actual distance traveled with one revolution of a propeller. Here's what that means. In theory, your prop should move forward a certain distance with each turn. For example, a 24-inch prop should theoretically move 24 inches forward per revolution if it was going through a solid, but in reality, it moves a little less, say 21 inches, since there is some slip when it goes through something like water. This difference is called prop slip, and a small amount, say 10 to 15%, is normal, and even a perfect prop will have some slip. But too much slip then can point to issues such as a damaged prop, a dirty hole, heavy loads, or an improper engine mounted height. And if you want to calculate or estimate what your prop slip is, I have created a special tool on my BoaterInput website, and I'll leave a link to that in the video description. So how did you do? If you got all 5 correct, well, great job. You really know your stuff when it comes to boats. But if not, no shame in that. And hopefully you learned a thing or two along the way, and that's what BoaterInput is all about. Let me know how many you got right in the comment section down below. And if you have suggestions for future nautical knowledge topics, be sure to include those as well. Well, if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please do me a favor and click on that like button. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel to get my weekly tips and insights to help you purchase, equip, and maintain your boat. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the water.